When it comes to members of the Akatsuki who I felt had more potential than they were given in the manga, Kisame is right there at the top of the list. I know some people would disagree with me since he did have a pretty good fight with Might Gai in the manga, but any guy who gets his chakra levels compared to being that of a tailed beast is an absolute monster. That's why I'm starting off this Akatsuki edition of the True Power series with Kisame. Like my Hokage edition, I'll be going in a very specific order. For these videos, I'll be covering the members of the Akatsuki in pairs, which means that the next video will be about Itachi Uchiha. Anyone who is familiar with my older content knows how big of a fan I am of Itachi, which means I have a lot to say when it comes to talking about how powerful Itachi Uchiha was. So let's get the most obvious thing out of the way. Kisame was insanely powerful, but he also has a savage side to him, which makes his freakish power pretty scary when you think about how sadistic he could have been if he really cut loose in the series. Without even having all the information on Naruto Uzumaki, Kisame was about to cut Naruto's legs off to prevent him from running away, as evidenced in chapter 145 of the manga. This isn't out of character for Kisame because he was a member of the Hidden Mist Village. When this happened, he killed comrades who were in the Cypher Corps in order to prevent intelligence from being leaked to Konoha on a team that was led by Ibiki. It makes you wonder just what he did to the feudal lord that he was rumored to have murdered, as stated in chapter 141 of the manga. In fact, Kisame never really got a chance to cut loose in the Naruto manga because Itachi usually kept him in check, which is why we never saw him shatter skulls like Obito did. So, just how powerful would a bloodlusted Kisame be in a battle? Well, Kisame is most known for his water release jutsu, but he also had 3 other changes in chakra nature at his disposal, according to series creator Masashi Kishimoto when he wrote Naruto Databook 4. Kisame could also use fire release, wind release, and earth release. On top of that, when he uses Samehada to its full potential, he can absorb chakra at relative ease. It makes you wonder just what kind of ninjutsu did he whip out when he captured the Four Tails off panel in the Naruto manga, which it should be noted that Kisame did with relative ease without exhausting a large pool of chakra. This becomes even more impressive when you consider that he almost managed to capture Killer Bee despite not being able to go all out, since the goal of the Akatsuki is to capture the targets alive, which means Kisame had to practice restraint or else he would have killed his target. At just 30% of his chakra, Kisame was powerful enough to force Gai to enter into his 6th gate, and this was Kisame without truly using the power of Samehada in battle. In chapter 260 of the manga, his chakra levels were said to be around the level of Naruto Uzumaki's at that point in the series, which should be around the time that the manga revealed his nickname as being the tailed beast without a tail. His durability is also impressive since he survived a lightning style attack by Killer Bee, and he tanked Might Gai's daytime tiger and even broke free of Yamato's wood style chakra restraints, whose sole purpose of Yamato's jutsu is to suppress chakra. However, Kisame was able to break free of this by using sheer willpower and raw physical strength, which is really impressive since he did this without using chakra. Though Kisame favors large attacks, he's also skilled as hell with a sword, being skilled enough that he killed members of his team using only a katana. Speaking of swords, sometimes I think people forget just how broken Samehada is as a weapon. Not only can it absorb chakra, but it can also serve as a sensory weapon, alerting the user to the presence of enemies who might be hiding somewhere. When it absorbs enough chakra, it begins to reveal shark-like teeth that can rip through an enemy, and it can also heal Kisame's injuries when it fuses with him, making it tough as hell to bring Kisame down in a battle. On top of all of that, Kisame even gains the ability to breathe underwater when he's fused with Samehada. Finally, Samehada can mask his chakra to the point where not even the most skilled sensory ninja can detect his presence unless something extreme was to happen. Getting further into his fighting style, Kisame is an absolute beast when it comes to water style ninjutsu. Just on basics, he can use chakra to turn water into sharks to attack his enemies, and he can also ride inside of the sharks, and he can also hide using these sharks. He's also been shown being able to create massive domes of water to trap his enemy inside of, which becomes a huge problem when you factor in Samehada's ability to allow him to breathe underwater and to absorb chakra. His mastery of water style ninjutsu, I believe, would make Tobirama Senju crack a smile, because Kisame, with only 30% of his chakra, was able to flood the battlefield with water during his battle with Team Gai, and when Gai used Morning Peacock, Kisame pumped out enough power that it briefly overwhelmed Gai's attack. Even Kisame's summoning jutsu can be tied back into his water style jutsu, since he has a water release of 1,000 feeding sharks, which he used to hide one shark to deliver intel on Naruto to Obito during the war. Kisame's water prison shark dance jutsu is one of my personal favorites. After he uses the water style great exploding water colliding wave jutsu, Kisame becomes the center point of a giant dome of water, and it follows him wherever he moves, making escape nearly impossible. Kisame is able to use Samehada to breathe underwater while he attacks his enemy. Just for clarification, this jutsu has the rank of an S rank jutsu, which explains why it's so damn hacks. To put this into perspective for you, the basic water prison jutsu is merely a C rank jutsu, but as we've seen in Naruto, even C-rank ninjutsu can prove to be deadly if it's used by the right person. Water prison jutsu has one major drawback to it, which is that the user has to stay in constant contact with the water prison or else the target is allowed to escape, whereas the S-rank jutsu makes escape virtually impossible. The water style exploding water colliding wave jutsu is another personal favorite of mine, because when we first saw Kisame use it, it was the first time since the battle with the second Hokage and the third Hokage that we saw a water style user summon a massive amount of water without being nearby a body of water. This jutsu, while only a B rank in level, requires a great volume of chakra to use. Kisame is able to turn a desert wasteland into an ocean by using this jutsu, which is absolutely insane. After expelling water from his mouth, if his enemies have been crushed by the water chakra, Kisame can ride on the wave and attack at blinding fast speeds, cutting down enemies as he pleases. Again, with only 30% of his chakra, Kisame created a small ocean. This jutsu's power is directly proportionate to the amount of chakra that a user unleashes, so if Kisame molded all of his chakra in a fight, there's no telling how much destructive force he could use while using this jutsu. The most advanced version of this jutsu not only covers the area with an entire ocean of water, but the water itself can be used for other ninjutsu, which gives Kisame the ultimate home field advantage since he can now attack from anywhere at any time. Kisame's Great Shark Bullet Jutsu is an A-rank jutsu, which is formed when the user makes a giant shark out of water, and after thrusting his hands forward, the shark begins to move at its target and can then absorb their chakra. Then it makes the shark grow in size. Basically, the stronger the enemy, the stronger the jutsu becomes. Kisame also has the water style Water Sharkwave Jutsu, which actually debuted in the Itachi vs Kisame fight, which took place in the Naruto Escapades OVA. This jutsu is used by Kisame by placing his palm onto a water surface, and after pouring his chakra into the water surges into the air. The water droplets then become small sharks that attack the enemy when they come into contact. Finally, Kisame is also listed as one of the masters of the silent killing jutsu, which was first used in the manga by Zabuza. This is merely a way of killing the enemy without creating a sound, and is often used in conjunction with elemental ninjutsu that can provide cover to mask their appearance. The killing blow is often delivered from behind, which means once Kisame gets inside of you, you'll never know until it's too late and he's already pulled out. The final water release jutsu that Kisame has that I want to introduce you guys to was first shown to us in Naruto chapter 258. This is the water style 5 feeding sharks jutsu. In order to use this jutsu, Kisame puts his hand onto the surface of a body of water, and from the tips of each of his 5 fingers, Chakra is released into the water. It then changes the water into the form of 5 enormous sharks. The sharks then circle around the target with blinding high speeds of movement, creating a raging steam that takes away their prey's freedom of movement, and their sharp teeth then begin to rip into the enemy, biting them with consecutive attacks. When you look at this is an extremely difficult jutsu to combat because you have to worry about these sharks while also trying to keep track of Kisame, which means that while you're fending off these sharks, Kisame could also use the silent jutsu in order to sneak up on you and kill you from behind. Now, moving on, I want to talk about some of the other skills that Kisame has, since it would be a huge disservice to not talk about what a former member of the 7 Miss Ninja Swordsmen can do and talk about. When talking about Kisame as a fighter, we have to look at this much about his character. He's extremely strong, and not just in terms of chakra and durability. We have to look at the fact that it was stated that he killed his former master, who was a member of the 7 Miss Ninja Swordsmen and stated to be one of the strongest members of that generation, and he was the person who wielded Samehada before him. Also, you have to look at the fact that Kisame was able to battle his entire team single-handedly and was able to take all of their lives only using the katana. Also, like stated before, when Kisame was able to match Might Gai for a large period of time during their fight, only using 30% of his chakra. Also, you have to look at the fact that Kisame was a physical specimen. He had enormous physical strength and speed, combining strong taijutsu strikes with enormously powerful slashes from his Samehada. You have to look at the fact that when he was fighting Asuma Sarutobi in the early portion of Naruto, he was able to overpower Asuma with relative ease, and Asuma was no slouch when it came to physical strength. Also, when you look at his battle with Might Gai, he was able to keep up with Gai in their second battle, despite the fact that Gai was an extraordinary taijutsu user. Also, when you look at his durability, you have to look at the fact that he was able to survive Killer Bee's Tail Beast version 2 state lightning release lariat, and you have to look at it from this perspective. While his ribcage was completely destroyed, he also managed to survive it, as well as the one-hit attack from Might Gai's Daytime Tiger. And even after all of that, he was able to have enough strength to break out of Yamato's chakra suppressing wood restraints, which again showed his raw physical power because those restraints were given with the sole purpose of sucking away chakra, and yet a battle damaged Kisame was able to break free of them, which shows that this dude didn't skip out on leg day. Well guys, that's it for this edition of the True Power series, the Akatsuki edition that's dealing with Kisame. Up next will be a video going over Itachi Uchiha, and I guarantee you this will be a video you want to grab your ramen bowls for, because what I'm about to say and the stuff I found dealing with Itachi is likely to trigger a lot of people, and yet at the same time, even the most staunchest Itachi haters will have to admit just how powerful this guy was. Now, just as a question to you guys, let me know which attack by Kisame was your favorite, and let me know what you think a fully bloodlusted Kisame could have done in a battle. But as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share, and never forget that Senju DNA is love and Senju DNA is life. Have an incredible day guys.